Okay, this is Chapter 9, Lesson 6, Guided Practice, called Random Samples. Number 1 says determine whether each conclusion is valid and then justify your answer. It says members of the school's newspaper staff want to conduct a survey to determine what type of sports students in the school enjoy watching the most. The members of the school newspaper staff decide to survey a group of students at their school's next football game this Friday night. Of the 100 students surveyed, 80 said football. The school newspaper staff concludes that about 80% of all students at their high school enjoy watching football more than any other sport. So would this be valid? You would have to say no, because the fact that they went to a football game to ask the question what sport they like the most, they're being biased because they're looking at the kids that actually went to a football game, which obviously means they like the football. It would be just like saying, going to Pizza Hut and asking how many people like pizza. Well, you're in a place where you know a lot of people are going to like pizza, so that would be biased. So go ahead and just write down what it says here. It's biased, convenient sample, and does not represent the entire population of the student body. Now, had they gone to the cafeteria and just randomly asked people what sport they like the most, then that would have been unbiased because they're randomly picking people just at a location that's not, sport specific. Number 2 says, a local radio station asked its listeners to call the radio station to indicate whether or not they support the idea of developing a stretch of land along their city's riverbank. Of the 120 listeners they called the station, 90 of them said yes. The radio station concluded that about 75% of the members of the city support the development of the riverbank. Again, this is kind of like the situation with the football. They only spoke to people who listened to their radio station. They didn't go out and just, randomly ask people on the sidewalk whether they wanted this riverbank or whatever it was asking about. So this is not a good one. The population is restricted to just the listeners, and of course it was a voluntary response sample. Number 3 says the developer of the Lebanon Town Center wants to know the most preferred of the center's anchor stores. So staff members survey every 10th shopper to enter the main entrance that entered the main entrance of the mall. The results of the survey are shown in the table. It is concluded that about half of the shoppers prefer Tatum. Okay, so is this valid? For this one, you would say yes. It's not like the football situation where they're asking like who likes to go to the mall, and then they go and ask people who are already at the mall. Of course, they like to go to the mall or they wouldn't be there. Unless they're like me and I only go once a year because I hate the mall. But anyways, the point is they just picked people who were walking in the mall, and then they asked which store they liked the most. It was still unbiased because even though they all enjoy going to the mall, they didn't go to Mallory's and say, okay, who in here likes Mallory's? And, 90% of the people said yes. And then they concluded that 90% of the population at the mall like Mallory's. That would be biased. In this situation, they just asked random people who were walking in, so it is valid. Last one, number 4. To award door prizes, at a wedding reception, 6 seat numbers are picked from a tumbler containing tickets representing each seat number. Melissa concludes that all the guests have an equal chance of winning a door prize. So is this a valid statement? Yes, it would be, because everybody does have an equal chance of winning. Not one person has a better chance than the other because they all have basically 1/6 of a chance of winning. Alrighty, go ahead and flip it over and do numbers 1 through 4 on your own on the other side. And then you're done.